Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Greene. Today I have the good fortune to be joined by Bryan Kramer. Bryan's been called the Zen Master to digital marketers by Forbes. He is a renowned business strategist, global keynote speaker, executive trainer coach, and 2-time bestselling author and Forbes contributor. He is the CEO of H2H Companies, an executive coaching company, and co-owner of PureMatter, a Silicon Valley marketing agency founded way back in 2001, which earned a spot as one of the fastest growing companies by the Silicon Valley Business Journal. Bryan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Let's go back in time a little bit. How'd you get started?
I got started as coming out of college in marketing and advertising agencies. So I was brought up through the ad agency world and worked my way almost in every position except for a designer. I'm not anywhere near being a designer, but I created and started interactive and digital departments within organizations back when that was first a thing, and then created my own kind of sub company within another company doing an interactive and website development, and then started my own agency in 2001, 2002, and created my own thing. So that then launched the rest of my career into being an entrepreneur.
And obviously, I'm sure the longer version of those stories is in the book. How does one become the Zen Master to digital marketers, and what does that mean?
Well, you don't title yourself that, so that's good. Otherwise, that'd be egotistical. Forbes wrote that as an article, and I really don't have a smart response for that. I don't know. I guess that they, I tend to be a little more present and thoughtful about what I write, and I'm not very interested in writing clickbait. And so I think that was what that article was about, was being future forward and thinking about what we can do to stay present and be more human with other people. And my first book, There's No B2B or B2C, It's Human to Human, is really what that's all about. And how do we stay in engagement with other people, not trying to automate everything. That was 4 or 5 years ago. So now things have changed a little bit, but it's still relevant.
Absolutely. So human to human, you say there's no B2B, no B2C. What are some of the biggest mistakes that companies and marketers are making that your movement kind of helps solve?
Yeah. The biggest thing is that we're using, and especially now, even AI is just becoming more relevant. Using technology to replace interaction, and the idea is to move us closer to relationship. And so, how do we get into a deep conversation or deeper conversation with another human being instead of farther apart? And a lot of enterprise, mid-market, even small business, in a lot of respects, are trying to see technology as a way of creating distance between, so that we can automate a purchase or a conversion or whatever you want to automate. And I think it's technology and humans working together, where one takes over from the other to create more moments of truth, more moments where another human knows that they matter, that they feel seen, that they feel heard or listened to. And when you do that, it only a human can create those magical moments.
That's awesome. I totally agree. You are on both the side of owning an agency and having owned an agency that markets companies, and executive coaching at some of the at companies as well. How does one inform the other? How do you benefit from seeing both sides?
Well, it's a totally different thing. I think when you're on the outside looking in, you're not regurgitating the same stuff over and over, saying we tried that, didn't work. It's, like, no offense to nonprofits, but I call it the nonprofit effect, where we're just always saying what can't happen, what won't happen, what shouldn't happen. And so as a consultant or an agency, you're coming in with a creative view of a new way of looking at something that, when it's kind of like us as people, we have a hard time seeing ourselves, but others, when we look at others, we have a much easier time breaking things down. Like if I were to get help it's easier for me to get somebody to show me my own blind spots than it is for me to see my own. A company is the same way. If we can hire an agency to see our own blind spots and help us creatively share our message, it's different. Now, on the flip side, when you're working for a brand or you're working on the company side, you can move faster. You're more nimble. You don't have to worry about, getting things through or doing things. It's a little more flexible. And also, you're a little bit more in charge of what can happen day to day. And so there's a benefit to both.
For sure. First book, Human to Human. There is no B2B, no B2C. Started a global movement about how to be more human. Sold over 15,000 books. What inspired you to write that book?
The first book, H2H.
Yes.
That book was inspired by a keynote that I gave that was about how to be more human at Bloomberg in San Francisco to CMOs and directors of marketing and sales, and it went viral over the next 24 hours. It got over 24 million impressions because it was the first time. This is now, think back, this is when actually social media was first on the scene. So today I'm not so sure, but back then it was not table stakes that companies actually lost a one-way voice. It used to be just radio, TV, and newspaper. And then all of a sudden social media comes on, and now anybody can talk badly about your company. And what do you do about it? And so, they were in a fire dumpster trying to figure out, like, what can we say without screwing up our company? I think they still are, to be honest with you. I don't think they still get it, but it's a lot more table stakes to, we understand now that if you don't reply right away, you're ruining your brand. Or if you don't actually pay attention to the people that are saying stuff about your company out there, you're not participating in the conversation. These are just things we already know now. So now it's just a change in how do you be more human in AI and augmented reality and automation and all the new things that are coming out. It's not changed in that respect. It's just now becoming more table stakes that we understand how to be in conversation then. So that's why it was so relevant, I think, when it came out.
For sure. And the latest book is called Shareology, How Sharing is Powering the Human Economy. You sold, triple the number of that book, made the USA top 150 book list the week of its release. What inspired Shareology?
It was actually supposed to be my first book. The H2H became a surprise baby. I wrote H2H in 4 days. And the reason is because I had already written hundreds of blogs on that topic. And when that happened, I took Shareology, put it on the back burner. And it was a much more research-driven book on the what, where, why, when, and how people and brands share. And I go through the actual algorithm of how to share and make it so that you become more relevant, or you get through the firewall, the human firewall. And so that's what that book was about. It ended up becoming a great complement to, or complementary book to H2H, because it is the what, where, how, why, and when to H2H. Like, how do you actually be more human in conversation? And so that's what that book ended up being about. It wasn't just social though, it was also in the real world, like on-demand Uber. We're co-sharing everything at this point. So that's what Shareology was about. I'm now working on my third book, which is about trust.
Which seems like it's right up the alley, following in the footsteps of the other two. You have an executive coaching company as well. What type of exec companies are you working with, and what are you coaching them on?
Yeah, I work with companies that are both entrepreneurial driven, spirit, startup, well funded. And I'm also working with large enterprise companies, and I work with executives on both sides, a lot of CEOs, directors and above. And I'm working with them on how to grow their company. Looking at I've started 3 businesses of my own and been successful with them. So how do you create all of the elements throughout the entire organization so that it hums? And I want to help others also create that in the most human way and without burning out. So how do you do all that? It sounds like a myth, like a unicorn, but it's possible, and we can have it all and live a great life. And that's what I'm coaching on.
That is the holy grail. You've got plenty of results, case studies, and testimonials. Can you share one with us where kind of what the company was struggling with when they came to you, how you worked your magic without giving away the secret sauce, and then kind of the magical transformation that happened when they followed your process?
Yeah, I've got tons. I could tell you maybe an entrepreneurial one where a CEO hadn't broken $1 million in I don't know how many years, 10 to 15 years that he had the company. But he was living a decent life. His operational cost was low enough that it was decent. He just had never been able to grow, because it was this. You get to this certain point where you're like 4 or 5 people, and expanding means taking on more. More overhead, more HR, more of a lot of different things, and so putting in different pieces into his mix and allowing him to both scale on the sales side, but also on the operational side to support it was key and vital. And so after working with him just in a year, he broke the $1 million that year. And he actually lives out of a suitcase now and travels to a different country every 30 days and is living the life of his own dreams, because he always wanted to travel. And so now he's been in, I think, 7 or 8 countries in the last year while he had his best year. And so this is the kind of thing that I think is doable, like whatever the dream is that you want to live. And at the same time, you want to expand and grow and build and create that, without losing that part of yourself, of having to get into the weeds and get into the, where's this check and where's that client coming from kind of stuff. That's all very doable. So that's how that worked out for him. And I like to make that happen for everybody that I work with.
That's an incredible story and incredible results. You've achieved so much success for both yourself, your businesses, and your clients. What's your biggest challenge now?
I really love my life right now. So I'm gonna say that my biggest challenge is just writing, getting my time to write my third book. I have enough clients that it takes my time away from writing. And so I think getting more time to write is really going to be my biggest challenge, because I really want to get this third book done. I'm totally invested in it, and I'm taking off actually next week to go just write. So that's going to be the answer to the question that I need to figure out. And so that's my biggest challenge right now, is just getting that manuscript turned in.
All right. That makes total sense. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
Everything, dude. I love everything. I love waking up in the morning and coaching. Like, that is like just watching someone's face and knowing that they see a possibility or an answer to something that they've been looking for, and creating that, going out and creating more of what they want without losing sleep and without losing themselves in the process. I did it miraculously. I traveled 200 days a year as a speaker and ran our agency, that was 30 employees and $30 million. And I understand what it's like to burn out. I did it. I in the worst way ever. And so I understand what not to do and then what to turn around and now do. And so I want for that for them. And I don't do this for the money anymore. I really love watching everybody, be able to see themselves in what's possible. And that just like, man, at the end of every day, I'm just grateful for what I get to do.
That is beautiful. For our folks who are watching and listening, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you, and where can they go get the books?
Best place is my website, bryankramer.com. That's Brian with a Y and Kramer with a K. And then the books are on my site too. So you can just click on books and they'll take you to wherever you want to buy them. My newsletter's there, all my podcasts, everything that I've done, everything's on a little bit on hiatus while I work on the book, but you can sign up and I will reply back human to human to everything that you send me.
Well, you certainly practice what you preach. Well, we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. This has been Seth Greene for Sharkpreneur with Bryan Kramer from bryankramer.com. Brian, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Seth. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.